Kind of been this narrative coming out of the media, especially the Pittsburgh media, that wants to talk all day long about, Mike Tomlin needs to get fired and, we got to hold these players and these coaching staff accountable, blah, 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 and they continually shred and, bring down Mike Tomlin, misquote him, take his quotes out of context and don't put his quotes into full context when he's getting interviewed. Just like the pad thing. They said, oh, Tomlin's big change is to practice in pads. He said there was a lot of different things, personnel changes they can do, schematic things they can do, getting players in different. He said there was a multitude of things. And there's a lot of variables that happen in the game of football, and there's a variable and a multiple things that you can do to make changes within the team, within the organization, giving Joey Porter more Jr. more reps like they did in the Baltimore Ravens game, putting him in that position to get that big game-winning interception and against the Baltimore Ravens. And ever since, they pretty much spun an entire web and an entire narrative based off the fact that Najee Harris lost his seat coming into the season. But at the end of the day, that's not a coaching decision. That's a player decision. And the players in the locker room are big in favor of Najee or of Kenny Pickett. They believe in his leadership. He's a quarterback. He's the face. And the players all voted for Kenny Pickett to have that C. So it's nothing to do with the coaches when it comes to giving out the captain on the jersey. And that's pretty much how they spun the narrative. And some people are even trying to say Najee Harris is a bust. Let me ask, how can you really sit there and say Najee Harris is a bust? Najee Harris broke the Pittsburgh Steelers single season rushing record as a rookie, broke a legend's record. That legend, Franco Harris, who helped lead this team to 4 Super Bowls. That legend who has his jersey retired. The third player only in Pittsburgh Steelers history to have his jersey retired. Ernie Stautner, Mean Joe Green, and Najee Harris. And to me, even people are saying Jaylen Warren's better. He needs to start. He needs to start. The way they're handling this, to me, they're handling it perfectly. Honestly, Jaylen Warren excels as a receiver. Obviously, if you can look here by the numbers, Jaylen Warren, second on the team in receptions with 22, 166 yards, 7.9 yards average. But when it comes to running up the middle and running the ball, Najee Harris is just different. He's a bruiser, he's a banger, and these two complement each other perfectly. So to sit there and say we need to bench Najee and put Warren in there and the starter, this and that, give each other more reps. They basically had 50-50 reps in the game against the Baltimore Ravens. And I think they're handling the load very good. And I think what you got to do is I've been saying this, and they said they were going to do it, and they actually did it against the Baltimore Ravens, is get both of these guys on the field at the same time because they're two of our best playmakers. You can't abandon Najee and you can't abandon Warren. They got to start trying to wrinkle them both into the offense more. We have Najee locked up for this year and next year, and we have Jaylen locked up for this year and next year. So we have a dynamic backfield for the next 2 years, and people are already trying to write Najee Harris off. Just like the entire fan base wrote off James Conner, who was a great running back who had some injury problems, which is sad, had a few fumbling problems, but he had a horrible offensive line in front of him. And when we did have a good offensive line, and when Le'Veon Bell was running his mouth and held out on the team, and we still had that elite offensive line, James Conner was a Pro Bowl running back. And James Conner, I think he just got hurt, sadly, but James Conner has been lighting it up. He's the third in the league in rushing right now, James Conner. And that was another one that the fan base was calling to get rid of. Get rid of James Conner. He needs to be fired. The Steelers handled that well. I mean, they let him play out his contract, and he didn't do good, and they weren't going to re-sign him, and they felt they needed to go in a new direction with Najee Harris, a more ground and pound style for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially the simple fact that they knew Ben Roethlisberger might not have came back that year, and they were even talking the general manager, and they were honestly trying to force Ben Roethlisberger out. They pretty much said, "Hey, if you don't take a pay cut, we're gonna cut you. So you're gonna have to take a pay cut, and you're gonna have to work with the team." And it could have got ugly, but Ben took a pay cut. He worked and restructured his contract so we can get, you know, he can come back because he's getting paid a ridiculous amount of money. Like, he was just getting paid a ton of money, and the Steelers were in salary cap hell with Kevin Colbert. He had this philosophy of just kicking the cap down the road, kicking the cap down the road, kicking the cap down the road, and it seems like Omar Khan has a little bit of different philosophy, and he's trying to free up cap space to actually start building a new team right now. We're flush in cap space right now. We have $12 million in cap this year, and going in the offseason, we have a lot more. And there's a lot of people they can cut and make moves around to build this roster around these two dynamic running backs. So we should be happy about the fact that we have two of these great running backs that have two different styles of play, because that is how the league is. You need to have the complementary backs and backs that can do different things, and you got to utilize these guys in their situations to their best abilities. And Matt Canada obviously isn't doing that, because in that game against who was it? I think the Houston Texans. Jaylen Warren, it was like a 3rd and 1. They have Jaylen Warren run the ball up the middle on a 3rd and 1. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You have a 240-pound running back. That's the situation where you get your 240-pound running back and jam him up the middle. And on 3rd and long, every 3rd down, Jaylen Warren is in the game. On 3rd down, Najee goes out, Jaylen Warren comes in. And those situations are perfect and prime for Jaylen Warren, especially if it's more of like a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. And you pretty much got to pass the ball 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, where Jaylen Warren can utilize his receiving abilities. I was even talking about putting Najee Harris in the backfield. You could put them both in the backfield. You can dot an I, put them both in the backfield, or you can have like a two tight end. That'd be crazy set. 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, and George Pickens out there at wide receiver. And then you could do all kinds of different motions and misdirections. Like, you can start with Jaylen Warren dotting the I with Najee Harris in front of him. Then you can motion Jaylen Warren out of the backfield, and then you can motion Najee to take a step back. So then the linebackers will have to move, and then you do those little motions and checks at the line. See, I don't see that a lot with the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, especially with a young quarterback. Doing little movements, pre-snap motions before the line can give you a beat on the defense. Especially, that's what they do in San Francisco with Deebo Samuels. They move them all around. They can put them in the backfield, and they do all these different motions to where you can get a read on the defense. If they're playing man and say Jaylen Warren motions out to the backfield and you put him way out there at the wire to Z receiver, somebody's going to have to motion out on him, especially if they're in man coverage. And if nobody motions out on Jaylen Warren, then you get a beat, and you say, well, they're in zone, or maybe they're possibly blitzing. They're bringing a zone blitz, and you can get a beat on the defense. And I did a video the other day talking about Ben Roethlisberger, and he was calling out Matt Canada, how he's not throwing any screens and none of these quick passes. And that's another situation to where Jaylen Warren can excel. You can motion him out to the backfield, put him out there at the wire to Z, and then you can just flip it out to him real quick screen, bump Jaylen Warren, boop, and then he'll make something happen, because he makes things happen in the open field. And when it comes, he's probably not the best. He's not as good as running up the middle like Najee Harris against defensive tackles and inside linebackers and strong hitting safeties. But in the open field, a defensive back tries to take down Jaylen Warren. That's why he looks like a bowling pin out there. He's got the size, he's got the strength, and he can do different things, and he's great in the open field. Najee's not so great in the open field. So you got to just utilize both of these skill sets. They're both having, so, I mean, on the ground, let's just be real about it, dude. Najee, 63 touches, 247 yards, 3.9 yards a clip. Jaylen, 34, 124, 3.6 yards a clip. So Najee's averaging more yards a clip. He's averaging pretty much 4 yards a clip. So that's not the greatest, but that's pretty, I mean, it's decent. It's decent enough, and he can get better. And it just goes back to the fact that people were trying to say Najee Harris is a bust or somehow he's going to lose his job. This man had 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons behind one of the most piss-poor offensive lines in Pittsburgh Steelers history, bro. So, like, how can you even try to make that argument in that case that his job is somehow in jeopardy? It's like Mike Tomlin says all the time, opportunities arise off your play. And if you keep doing better and doing better with your opportunities, you're going to get more opportunities. You're going to get more chances to get the ball in your hands. I mean, there's a lot of players on this team, and you got to spread the ball around to all kinds of different people. So having 2 backs like this on the roster, especially for this season and next season, this is the identity we need to start building. You know what I mean? We can have kind of like a 49ers offense if you actually would use this personnel and put them in the best possible positions. Even with Cam Hayward's brother, Connor. Like I said, that's set. That could be, you could have the two an I set with 2 tight ends, 1 receiver, and you can even motion Connor off of the line. Whoop! And then you have X, Y, and then you come out of the I. Maybe dump. Then you just throw Najee up a tight. Like, you can do so many different things. And this is why the Kyle Shannahans and, especially him, because he does all these motions and does a lot of good things that puts Brock Purdy in great situations to where he kind of can know what is going to happen, get a beat on what the defense is doing, and that helps. That helps you a big time. I don't care if you're a fucking 20-year vet in the league or your second-year quarterback. And that's definitely going to help your second-year quarterback who is not all the way up with the speed of the game. He's still trying to, figure his way, and he's got a little bit of happy feet. And it takes time for quarterbacks to develop. It takes time for running backs to develop. And it's just sad, like, the way this whole entire fan base got down on James Conner and wanted him gone. He's terrible. He sucks. He's ass. Blah, blah, blah. When in reality, the problems on the run game and the fact that we weren't getting a lot of yards on the ground is a combination of a lot of things. A combination of the offensive line was fucking terrible. A combination of Randy Fichtner was a horrible offensive coordinator. A combination of Ben wanted to go out there and call all his plays and give you 5 wide sets every time when we basically abandoned the run and we didn't give a fuck about the run. And it's almost like Ben just wanted to do whatever he wanted to do the last few years in his career and, add a little bit more stats and pad up a little bit more of his stats before he hung it up. So, he's a surefire lock for that first ballot Hall of Fame, career that he put on. And I love Ben Roethlisberger, but, you gotta criticize him on that because even Aaron Rodgers plays under center. Even Tom Brady plays under center and gives you all kinds of different looks. And that's what the Steelers need to be doing. And they need to be bringing in different packages too. And I don't see them like switching packages and bringing in all kinds of different sub packages. Like that's something Bill Belichick will do. They'll hit you with that package, and then they'll hit you with the 3 receiver set, and then you got Allen Robinson, George Pickens, and then Calvin Austin or Deontay Johnson now too. So there's so many different things you could do to utilize both of these back skill sets and to act like these two can't coexist. That they can't coexist is crazy. This is a great problem to have. I mean, when we won the Super Bowl, that's exactly how we won the Super Bowl. The backs being complementary backs and utilizing them to their best of their abilities. Willie Parker, he's the fast running back that gets the ball, first, second down, maybe third down, third and long. And we'd even bring in running back, good receiving backs too to back them up. Jerome and Willie Parker. In short yarded situations, that was Jerome's bread and butter. Goal line situations, that was Jerome's bread and butter. And he came in and he played his role. Every player has to play their role on a team, and the offensive coordinator needs to utilize their skill sets better. And obviously, he's not. That's why we're so bad on offense. And again, it's not all on him. It's a combination of a lot of things. Everything, there's a combination of a lot of things with everything you do in life, and especially football, like a relationship, or a combination of a lot of things. If it's good, if it's bad, if you get into an argument. I mean, it takes two to tango, and it takes a whole team to win a motherfucking football game. The whole team, not just the players, the coaches, everything. I say it all the time in my videos. So it's crazy, man. Jaylen Warren's great. Najee Harris is great. And if this offensive line gets healthy and they start playing a little bit better and living up to their pay grade, you know, we might see something a lot different. And then you get Deontay Johnson out there. George Pickens is really starting to get into his stride. You get Pat Freiermuth out there, and Kenny Pickett starts getting in a rhythm, and we start getting this pass game going, and that makes the defense not able to stack the goddamn box every fucking play. Then it's really going to start opening up things for this running game. And it really started opening up at the end of the season last year. I mean, we started dominating fools on the ground last year. So it's kind of sad to see that we're you know, that's what I was hoping we'd come in with this season. But things haven't went according to plan. Mason Cole's getting blown up every play before Najee Harris can even touch the ball. And, you know, that's what they're really have, like, they try and they try and they try, and it just hasn't been working. And maybe Najee might miss a little hole here and there, but a lot of times he's just getting blown up in the backfield right from the start. And he has some of the most broken tackles in a single season and a game. So the dude is a bruiser. The dude's a beast. The dude's a brick shithouse. You don't see that many people that lean. That fucking lean at 240 pounds. All right. What does that tell you if he's that lean looking at 240 pounds? That means he's just an elite athlete. That means he's a workhorse. That means he is in the gym on the daily, doing his reps and putting in hard work. Just because Najee might not be as extroverted, he's more introverted, and he's not going out there on Instagram every day flexing and doing his workouts and acting like a jig clown like Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. That doesn't mean he's not in the lab day in and day out, because his body, his frame, that's all you need to know. You don't need to see it on Instagram. We see it on Sunday when he's taking defense, when he's just throwing defenders off his back and carrying pals and leaping over people and just doing crazy shit. That one run he had against Houston, it was crazy. That was crazy. So Najee Harris is a solid back. Jaylen Warren's a solid back. And we got to find a way to get both of these guys involved more. Not just Jaylen Warren. We got to get Najee Harrison. We got to get both these guys involved more, because these are two of our best playmakers on this team right now. And it's sad Najee hasn't got the ball 20 times in one game yet. It's sad, because he is kind of a bell cow back, and you got to get those type of backs going. You got to get him the ball. You got to get him working on the defense. And it's sad he's not got the ball 20 times in one game this season. But the narrative that the media spins off a simple fact that the players, you know, are behind their franchise quarterback. They want to put the confidence in their franchise quarterback that he's the leader of the franchise. He's the quarterback. He's the one that calls the plays. He's the one that's in control of the offense, and the team follows his leadership. And they know Kenny's a leader. They know Kenny's a leader. And he's going to go out there on Sunday. If we win a game, Kenny's going to go, well, my teammates stepped up. Joey Porter stepped up. The offensive line stepped up. Jaylen Warren stepped up. This isn't on me. This is on the team. This is on the team win. And then when we lose, Kenny's going to go out there and he's going to face the media and he's going to say, I'm the one that lost this game. I need to play better. I need to execute better. It's on me. It's on me. And Najee was stepping up and taking that leader role. It's on me. It's on me. At the end of the day, the players got to execute. And, This is a young team, and I think they're together. I think they're bonded. I think they're bought in to the Mike Tomlin. Don't buy into the minutia. Do not buy into the minutia, and get down to business and living up to that standard and living up to those reasonable expectations. Reasonable expectations. And, things will do good. And if you reasonably progress and you reasonably get better, that's all you can really ask out of your team. And we're still building. We got a ton of salary cap. We're not even 2 full seasons removed from our franchise quarterback, who we built our entire offense around, and basically built our whole salary cap and team and roster was built around Ben's $40 million contract and the major contracts he's got throughout his career. He's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the history of the league. He's like right up there, like top 10, top 5 maybe. He got so much money. So you don't buy into the motherfucking minutia, bro. We got 2 fucking great running backs, and we got them for this year and next year. And then, hey, if Najee keeps, not doing good, not getting productive, or we feel that there's an amazing back in the draft that we can pick up that can just do it all, got the speed, got the power, like a Jonathan Taylor, then you don't pay him. His rookie contract's up. Like, thank you for your services, Najee. You were a great athlete. You were a great player of this organization. You did all you could do. You worked as hard as you could, but we're going to have to move on, and we're going to let you go get the free agency, and, we'll have to get a change of scenery. But who knows? We got a lot of games left and a lot of easy games left. Najee might start having some breakout games. Jaylen Warren might have some breakout games. You never know. We played some really tough run defenses. San Francisco, Baltimore, Cleveland. Those are 3 very solid rush defenses. The Raiders and Houston suck, so I'm going to give that. They probably should have definitely did better on the ground against them 2 teams, but C.J. Stroud put on a fucking show. And C.J. Stroud is looking like he's the fucking real deal right now. So there's no excuses for us losing to Houston, but I'm telling you, I think C.J. Stroud's the next big thing at quarterback in the NFL, the way he's playing. He was doing things like, he was just making some nice passes, smart passes, educated passes, nice. It was a beautifully ran West Coast offense. That's what it was. It was they run the West Coast offense, and it was ran to a fucking T. So, especially against the Steelers. And they knew how to beat us. Get it out quick and bust the blitz. And that's what happened. They busted the blitz. And that happens sometimes. You blitz, somebody's going to be open. And CJ was able to step up in that game and find his open receivers. So, like Tomlin says, like I already said, don't buy into the goddamn minutia.